Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our demo of new lookup tables. My name is Shri Subramanian. I'm a product manager here at Sumo Logic, focused primarily on log analytics and support the search product area. So one of the areas that falls under my purview is lookups. So today we will learn a little bit more about a new lookups feature and how it can be used for enriching your logs and identifying deeper insights from your data. I'll cover all the new features, including the operators, support for fine-grained permissions, API support as well. So in terms of agenda, it's pretty simple. I'll provide a quick overview of our lookup tables, talk about its features and benefits real quick, and then provide a demo actually demonstrating all of this. And that's where we'll spend the bulk of the next 15 minutes, essentially. Great. So starting with, what are lookup tables here? Lookup tables are primarily a means to enrich your log data. Organizations rely heavily on contextual information, such as intelligence feeds, etc., to enrich the data with actionable information. So since this contextual information is so valuable, our customers want to be able to bring this data into Sumo to help them make better decisions. And lookup tables allow you to do just that. There are a few key problem statements here that can be solved with lookup tables. From a business and security use case point of view, customers often want to bring in additional business contextual information to kind of enrich their logs, such as customer information, industry information, etc. Similarly, from a security standpoint, many companies want to bring in that additional information that will help them better understand the alerts and prioritize the right critical security events to kind of focus on and triage. And the final aspect is more when it comes to reporting, right, is once you do kind of have certain logs, you want to be able to kind of enrich and set up the right kind of visualizations and alerts as well. So in terms of our benefits, we have completely re-architected the product from the backend and have introduced several additional benefits with a new lookup capability. The first one is really around usability. Lookup tables are first-class citizens Sumo Logic now. So what that means for you is that lookup tables will be available in the content library like saved searches and dashboards. You will be able to organize them into folders and manage them like any other content type. Right, and along with that, you can also now manage permissions of lookup tables using the UI as well as the API. And this is pretty important, especially from for the content permission standpoint. Is lookup tables are used to enrich our logs with additional information. This information might be considered sensitive that you might not want to expose to all the other users within your org. So content RBAC permissions will allow you to be able to control who has access to these tables. The next main benefit is around like improved creation and lookup table management workflow. So you will now be able to create the lookup tables and see data into it using the UI or the API. We also have a save operator that is already in play today that also extends to the new lookup table. You will be able to update data to your tables from the search queries itself using the save operator. And then from a performance standpoint, as I'd mentioned, we have completely re-architected the product. So we also have certain performance benefits with regards to that. Lookup queries will now be about 10 times as faster with these recent improvements. And the other bigger improvement is in terms of size. Lookup tables can now hold up to 100 megabytes, which is more than about 12x the previous amount, which is around 8 megabytes. So with this kind of larger size, you can bring in larger custom thread feeds, security data, topology, and other configuration data easily into Sumo Logic and manage it from there. And then finally, we have the enhanced operator support. We have the new cat operator for viewing the contents of the table. I kind of show that within my demo, along with the new lookup operator as well. And we also have a lookup contains operator that will return a Boolean value if the table contains a specific data value you're looking for. So lookup tables can be used to enrich your streaming data, as I'd mentioned before, right? And at a high level, how this works is as part of the first step, you create a representation of your external data source within Sumo by defining what the fields are, what data types they should have, and by defining or specifying a primary key, right? And the external representation should be in the form of a CSV file format. Right now, you can only upload CSV files into Sumo, and that's the supported file format. As part of step 2 is really about using our operators to correlate and enrich your machine data or log data with with the lookup table using some of the operators that I'll show you. So now getting into kind of the good part, which is the demo itself. I'm going to walk through a very simplified mock use case. So say, for example, we have users logging into a platform, and within our logs, we capture their MAC addresses, for example, and the actions they perform. And if we have, say, a mapping of these MAC addresses with the exact identity of the users, such as the username, right, then we can use lookup tables to then enrich these logs and identify not just the MAC addresses, but who these users are and what are the most common actions they're performing. So it's a very simplified use case here that I'll kind of quickly go ahead and demonstrate. So in terms of a demo, a few things I'll kind of show you is how we create a lookup table, some of the operators preview, and I'll show you the RBAC sharing and the edit manage functionality as well. So this is a Sumo UI. This is a homepage. It's part of like a demo account that we have. So if you go to a content library where we have all our content here, as I mentioned, lookup table is now a first-class citizen. So it's treated as any other content item, and you'll be able to add it from the add new button here, similar to a folder or new lookup table. So let me go ahead and create a new lookup table. And I'm just going to call this eliminate demo 3. Right. And we also have a certain feature here called time to live. So time to live here specifies the period up to which rows of data will be available within a lookup table, as long as they have not been modified or updated. So this is a way to kind of prevent your data within a lookup table from going stale, or by even managing the size of a lookup table. So for example, if I set a time to live, I can specify either minutes, hours, or days. Right. So for example, here, if I have a lookup table, any data that is unmodified for up to an hour, right, after that 1 hour will be deleted from the lookup table. So in this way, all data within the lookup table will be as recent as within the past 1 hour. So there's a tooltip here that further kind of explains how this time to live feature works. And we also have additional documentation that'll kind of talk about this. For the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to hit this as no, and I'm going to upload a file. Right, and I think what I'll do is upload this one that has, say, a table of MAC addresses and usernames as to who these MAC addresses kind of belong to, right? And I'll say use a MAC address as a primary key, and let me just go ahead and create this. So as soon as I create, I get like a success message, and I'm gonna quickly view the data here, right? And what you see here is the cat operator and the path of the lookup table. So the cat operator just allows you to kind of cat the contents and view the content of the lookup table here. And a quick note is a lookup table today is referenced by the path it is stored. So as I mentioned, lookup tables are a content item. They lie within your library. So if you see here, you have the library and then users, my name, and then the eliminate demo 3, which essentially is kind of how it works. You have the parent library, right? You go into my personal folder or my name, and you have the lookup demo here. So today, all lookup tables are referenced by the path. And with this format, you'll be able to view the contents of the lookup table as well. So let me go ahead and show you how to use the lookup operator, right? So in my initial example, I kind of talked to you about, we are logging in the different MAC addresses of lookup tables. So what I'm going to do here is quickly pass out what the MAC addresses are of some of the users that are logging into our demo. So all these are mock logs, by the way. And what we have is, say, over the last 15 minutes, we are kind of passing out these MAC addresses. And now if I want to find out who are these users, what I would do is I would use a lookup operator, specify the field I want to look up from. And then what I would do here is I need to specify the path of the lookup table, as I mentioned. So what I would do is I would go and put path, and I would show what I'm joining on, right? Which in this case is MAC address, right? And what you would see here is now we have a MAC, and then we have a user that this kind of MAC address belongs to. So in a way, I've brought in data that doesn't really belong in my labs, and I've kind of added that here as well, right? And now I can do something like count by username, and find out in terms of frequency how many users have logged in or used, or how many logs have come in from a particular user, right? And I can kind of sort this out from my results table as well. And this kind of gives me, a certain kind of like sorted list of lookup tables. So this is a quick, preview in terms of how we create a lookup table and the operators. I'll quickly show you the RBAC and sharing permissions as well. So as I mentioned, now they are a content item, and you can share this like any other content item, like a saved search or scheduled search or dashboards, right? You can share this with a specific role, your entire org, or a specific user, right? And you can give them view, edit, or manage permissions. If I give just a view, and they cannot grant access to anyone else either. So in this way, you can really kind of control who has access to these lookup tables. If there are certain users who do not have the permissions, then they will not be able to view contents, nor will they be able to use the lookup operator on this specific table either. So in this way, you're able to kind of control the access of this information that might be considered sensitive, or you might not want to give access to all users within your org. And then finally comes the edit and manage functionality. So this is the lookup table page for this specific table here. What you can do is you can merge data, which means adding in additional data. You can use an upload functionality as well, similar to how I created the lookup table. Or you can do a full replace, or you can delete data as well. And then what we have here is a couple of lookup actions queue and history panel. So this gives you a record of all actions that were performed on the lookup table by you or by other users who have access to it, along with the timestamp and when they performed. So here I've done a full replace, or like an upload essentially, just a few minutes back, that you can see. And if you have certain actions in your queue, such as a scheduled search that periodically updates data to the table, that would probably kind of appear in this queue as well. So you have a way to kind of manage the data, view the data, as well as kind of get a record of all the actions that are performed or to be performed in a lookup table as well. So that essentially kind of brings us to the end of a demo here. In terms of a quick summary, and we talked about how context enrichment can be useful by bringing in data that's outside of Sumo for both business as well as security use cases. We talked about how lookup tables are a first-class citizen or a content object that has fine-grained RBAC permissions. We also have API support. So if you go to our docs, api.sumologic.com, you will see our lookup tables here. And along with that, we showed you how you can create or manage your lookup tables from the UI. And now new lookup tables can hold a much more amount of data as well. So let me see if there are anything in terms of questions. So can it point to S3 or have the CSV hosted on Sumo? So today you can't have it pointed to an S3 bucket right now. But from a CSV hosted on Sumo is, yes, in a way, once you do upload the CSV, we are hosting it on our end. The other option from our old lookup tables was you have the CSV hosted on the customer side. So rather than kind of doing it in that sense on like a public endpoint, what we now do is we allow you to upload the CSV file itself, and then you can either maintain it using our APIs or using our UI as well. So with that, that kind of brings us to the end of our demo here, strictly speaking. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me at shri@sumologic.com. I'm also available on Slack Dojo, and I will be available on the public chat rooms as well as part of the Eliminate session right after this demo. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And thank you very much for tuning in. And it would be great if you can also fill out the survey. I'm going to just drop the survey link into the chat box here. And it'll be good to get your feedback on the demo as well. So that's it on my end. Thank you everyone for tuning in.